him, I don't feel the support of the church. I don't feel like they're there, covering me. And he said, but Alan, you are anointed for what you do. Why are you looking for pulpit ministry in a tax authority? He said, you are an anointed tax collector. And so I am proudly an anointed tax collector. So we began these reforms, and we were looking at two things. We had to have integrity, and we had to be competent. So we did something which I think comes with a health check. Don't do this at home. We decided we were going to draw a new organizational structure, and we were going to ask every person in URA, 2,000 people, to apply again for their jobs. That meant terminating them, because this was a different organization. So I had the wonderful, enviable job of terminating everyone and telling them, you have 2 months' notice, reapply. The jobs are fewer, but anyone can apply. And so through a series of interviews, it took 6 months, we put 500 people on the street and remained a much cleaner and more competent organization. It sounds easy right now. It was frightening then. But things like this have to be done if you are going to deal with corruption. And we were praying. It wasn't like, kind of just got up and did something. We were really, really praying. Second thing, we went back to the taxpayers and said, what kind of service do you want from us? Now, remember, up to this point, we were the organization that told every person what they do. And they looked at us and said, huh? What do you want? What are you up to? Well, we said, we want to serve you. Up to this point, all you've known is corruption, high-handedness, arrests, and all manner of wickedness. And so we said, what can we do to serve you? So they began to tell us, well, we don't want to stand in long queues in your offices, because every 15th of the month, we have to line up to come and pay taxes to you guys. And we don't see returns. And it's very expensive. And besides, your laws, the tax laws, are mysterious. We never understand them. And you never take the trouble to talk to us. So we said, okay, you don't want to come, so we're going to make sure you don't have to come. So we built online systems. Said, number two, we're going to teach you. We're going to explain to you. We're going to give you your rights and obligations so that we now front tax education. And people have got to know their rights before you run after them to collect from them. And so we front-loaded service and put auditing and enforcement in the back end. Then we also realized that one of the reasons why people actually don't want to pay taxes is because, why there is non-compliance, is because this institution that is collecting revenue has a really bad image. People don't like us. And so I said, what do we need to do to get people to like the tax collectors? Yeah, so what we did then what we did was to rebrand. We did everything that we could to cut off the old image, including our logo and our colors and our cars and everything, changed everything about us. Then we went into the public to do community work. Some areas are really poor and some schools don't have desks and textbooks. So we began to collect things and say, let's go in and show people that we are tax collectors, but we are here because you pay your taxes. And they began to trust us. And over the years, I can tell it has taken 10 years. God has invaded the tax authority. And because he has, thank you. We've seen revenue grow. In the last 10 years, revenue has grown by 317%. Thank you. The tax revenue we collected, we used to contribute 54 to 58% to the national budget. Last year we contributed 71.2%. And we're going to reduce that slowly because I am convinced we are not a poor nation. We have capacity issues. God has invested so much in Africa, in my country. There is so much resources. We just need to get the people to do the right thing. One of the other things that has shown me that God is doing an incredible work in Uganda Revenue Authority, and what he's doing in URA, he can do anywhere. The people that we have trained that have worked with us a number of years and that have now left the organization are heading big public institutions. Previously, nobody wanted to recruit from URA. In fact, I remember the international agencies like World Health Organization, World Bank had a policy, do not recruit from URA. I now have a problem retaining my people. It's a good problem. Because the people that we have trained are heading the Kampala City Authority. Some of you, I think Gary said you did meet the lady who heads the City Authority, who's turned it completely around. She was our company secretary. The Director of Public Prosecution was my personal assistant. How cool is that? We have people that have gone to the World Bank who are heading regional projects. This is not about me. It was always God's idea. It was God's idea because he didn't just want us to have a good name, but he wanted to serve the people of Uganda. He wanted the children to have a chance to go to school. He wanted medicine in the hospitals. He wanted communities developed. And this organization, this public institution, was just standing in his way because just did not acknowledge God. I am so convinced that if we will invite the kingdom of God to where we are in the public areas, in business, in some churches, I believe that God will take over and we'll begin to see better societies. It has happened in URA, it can happen anywhere. I thank you.